Hey, welcome back everyone. I guess you would call this a part two to the video I just recently shot on the stiletto style slide. That it's a Davison Defense stiletto style slide, and it was a kit. I got it in kit form, and that was because I wanted to assemble it myself, and I wanted to basically, for obvious reasons, to hand fit everything to get the maximum out of it. Sometimes when you get these kits, and people would call them budget kits, but they're actually very good quality kits, especially what you're paying for them. You take the time, you assemble them correctly, and you fit everything, and just go over every part, make sure there's no debris or anything that needs to be cleaned up on them, and smooth everything out, and you're going to have something that's really nice. So without further ado, dun, da, 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 surprise, there it is, the completed Gen 3 compatible slide. And you can see that I have done some things to it. I'll go over the features on it. First of all, it's completely complete. And I actually had to use the spring that they had given me for the safety plunger was super stiff, so I replaced that with a lightened spring, and in my opinion it's not super light. Let me use this one's a little bit flatter. It's got a good amount of resistance to it, but it's not like super some you push them, they're just like way too stiff, and that creates a really stiff trigger. The other thing is, instead of a 5.5 pound striker spring, this striker spring wasn't really up to par. I didn't even like the look of it, and it was too stiff. I went to a 5-pound spring, so that's down a half an inch. That's definitely within respectable and acceptable parameters. That's the word I was looking for. The recoil assembly, as you can see, it's an all-steel recoil assembly that came with it. The machining on the slide, everything's excellent. We went over that already, but it's got the stiletto style caulking serrations on the front and the rear. You can see how aggressive that they are. They're really nice, and it gives you a really good purchase on that. I mean, literally, you could make your hand sore on them if you were racking it all day long, because they're so defined. They're not sharp, they're just very well defined and nice and deep. And I think, and this is one of the reasons why I purchased this, it's got a really sharp look to it. I really like it. I didn't want one of those blocky slides. I wanted something with some style. And it's all melanite coated. It's got a beautiful finish on it, with the exception of this aluminum plate. I replaced the plastic plate, or the polymer plate they had, with a all aluminum. I paid under like 10 clams for it, and I actually fit it. And I actually had to take the plate in to get it to fit somewhat flush. I had to spend about an hour, literally. I put it on a file, and I just worked it back and forth on a flat surface until I got it down to the depth that I wanted to. Then I had to put it on I have a mill, and I had to mill these holes out so I could fit my old hardware, because the hardware that they came just it wasn't compatible with my slide. They were just too long, so I had to use the original slide hardware to mount it. But that's another story. The sights on it, as you can see, I have a Glock standard rear sight on the back. It's a really nice sight, and I don't know if you can get a sight picture. If I go down here, you can see a basic sight picture, and what I'd be looking at. If I go too close, it's going to blur out. You're going to lose that front sight. Are you going to get it? Let's see if we're going to focus. Well, we're going to lose the front sight, but you get the idea. The front sight is a fiber optic that I took the Glock sight, and I actually drilled it out, and I installed a fiber optic rod. And this fiber optic, this particular brand, is really hard to work with because it scorches so easy. It's not like the True Glow, which is it's really easy and forgiving. But when this catches light, you're going to get a real nice a real nice picture. Let me see if I can get a... You can get an idea of how it's going to catch the light. It's so hard to simulate these things, but yeah, that's a little bit better. That's almost like it's lit up. I actually had taken it outside under natural sunlight and under natural shaded light, and it really does light up really nice, so you can see the difference. So that's going to make for a very nice sight picture in the front. You get that gold post in the back, and then you get that, and it lights up, and it's just, you're right there. So that's a very, very nice, clear, sharp sight pictures for its intended purposes. The barrel, as you know, right here, it's got 6 ports in it. It is crowned in flush cut. It's just a really, really clean setup. Other than that, I used all of the stock parts that came with the exception of the 2 springs that I had mentioned, the striker safety and the striker spring, because the other ones were kind of subpar. I think I used, I believe they were wolf springs that I used inside of them. Okay, enough said about that. Just there's another look at that. The serrations. I think it's a real sharp looking slide. Now on to the frame that I had built for it. Here's the frame. It is a PSA S-size full-size frame, and it has a standard, basically a standard fire control group in it. I just, kind of de-burred and softened this up a little bit where I needed to. It had some catchy points on it, but you can see there that there's nothing fancy. It has a standard 5-pound disconnector in it. It has a standard spring, return spring, standard. The trigger is a P80 trigger, flat face trigger that I deburred. All the parts I'll hand fit and I'll deburr, so there's no friction points. Standard PSA extended safety. I did install some extended takedown levers right here. It makes it a lot easier to grab. Anything else about this? Not really. Oh yeah, I took the magazine release button and I put some, I hand cut, of course I disassembled it, and I hand cut some texture into it, and I hand fit a magazine well, which this didn't require too much. As a matter of fact, no, this one required very little fitting to get it to fit the way I wanted it to. Virtually nothing, really. I might have just hit the edges with a piece of sandpaper on the frame just to get a tighter fit on it, very lightly. Almost didn't even need to do it. But it makes for a very nice magazine insertion, and it also gives you a nice grip so you have complete control over the pistol, and you'll have like non-slip on the bottom. You're locked in. You get your nice undercut on the frame. You've got that full-size grip. That's the one thing I do kind of favor on these full-size frames, and that's why I decided, because you got a full-size grip on it, and you can really get a good hold of it. Okay, now on the trigger, you see we go forward on it, and your safety's engaged right there. And I want to show you how, I'll do it on this side, as soon as you come back off of that safety, you'll see how smoothly everything moves backwards. That's what you want. Safety engagement, and then as soon as I actuate that trigger, just watch how everything just jumps back. How quickly it goes without any intrusion whatsoever, no hang-ups. It just goes nice. That's what you want. You want a nice, smooth, uninterrupted movement. Sometimes if you don't take the time and assemble them right, the trigger bar will bow one with the other. You'll get hang-ups in the cruciform area if you rush it. So that's why you have to take your time. Test fit, move it, look for any interference, correct it, go back, do it again. I literally had to take this frame apart about at least 3 times to get it right, to find all the hang-up points inside of it. I did actually deburr the inside of the trigger area also, just a little bit. It's like a very light, actually a fingernail file, a very thin emery board, and I went around lightly and deburred it to get any hang-up points, because it was actually dragging and hanging up. So, not anymore. Perfectly fine. Okay, now let's fit the slide to the frame, and we will do a functions check. Okay, we'll just get it on. It's on there nice. Obviously, you know that the pistol is clear. And right there, you have your trigger set. You have your take up. Go to the wall. Break. Let's come out to the reset. Right there, you're at the wall. Break. One more time. You're at the wall. Break. That's perfect. I'd say you probably got between a 4.5 and a 5 pound pull on this. I just may take a measurement. There's your wall. Nice, tactile, and audible. And then break. Let's see how much take up. So you get your trigger safeties completely working. You have to touch that dingus to disengage. There's your wall. There's, ready? Take up. You're at the wall. Break. And this is working with basically all factory parts, except for the fact of those 2 springs that I had mentioned earlier, and just taking the time to deburr and dehorn any parts. And they always do come, 99% of the time, you got to clean them up to make it work correctly. There's your break. One more time. I never get sick of that. Wall, break. Beautiful. Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to get the trigger gauge, and I want to take a measurement on this just so I can see exactly where I'm coming in. Be right back. Okay, back with the Wheeler Dealer trigger pull scale. We will see now what we're going to get. We'll rack it. All right, I'm going to try to be as accurate as possible. Now keep in mind, when I am doing this, I am going to put my finger on the trigger, but it's only to steady the shoe of the gauge so it doesn't slip up. Just to keep it where it should be. Okay, that one, just like I thought, I just got a hair over 5 pounds. There is going to be a break-in period, but it's very crisp. There's no slop in this. There is absolutely no creep in this. It just comes to that walnut and it breaks. And this is what you want. You want it in this range, especially for this kind of a pistol. We try it again. There is obviously operator error. One more time. I'm only putting my finger. I'm not putting backwards pressure. It's just to steady the shoe of the gauge. Okay. Exactly where I thought it would be. This is the gauge. This is my safety. This is the gauge. There you go. 5 pounds. So that's where we are. that's that as far as that goes. Okay, we have a 5-pound trigger pull. Perfect. One 17-round magazine. One inert round. We're going to put that in. We will go from an open slide and we will slingshot her in there and see how she feeds. We have perfect insertion. That's on an open chamber. We'll do it on a closed chamber also. Using the slide stop. Perfect. No hang-ups. Okay, we'll eject. And now we will go from a closed slide and test for insertion and ejection. Perfect. Smooth. No hang-ups. Now we'll slingshot the round into the chamber. Perfect. Nice and smooth. There's your dummy round. There's your magazine. And there's your pistol. I think that just about covers it. If anybody has any questions about the build, I will be more than happy to answer them for you in the comments section. If you like this kind of information, please like, subscribe, share, and give me the thumbs up, because if you don't, we're not going to get the information out to the people that can really use it. I try to make content that's going to help people. I am not monetized. I do not have any sponsors. I do this purely for the interest in the hobby and because I want to help out the community. Anybody that's into this kind of a thing, it's definitely, worth learning. If you're going to be into this, you should learn how to troubleshoot and repair. Take a course. Get a little bit of education under your belt. If you have a basic mechanical skill set, a lot of these things should come naturally to you. I did have time in one of my previous lives. I was an assistant to the armorer, and I got a lot of good tips and tricks, and I was very lucky during my course of my careers to have some very good mentors. So thank you to them wherever they are. And anyway, like I said, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and thumbs up. And I'll see everyone in the next one. God bless, and everyone have a fantastic day.